record. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's gonna log you in right off the get-go as someone random. You can go up to the cog here and you guys can go ahead and sign in with Google. Once you sign in with Google, it'll take you to, you know, it'll put your little avatar up at the top, okay? Again, if you go to Whiteboard.Chat and you go to start drawing and then you click manage board, the first thing it's gonna do is it's gonna ask you to log in with Google, okay? So you're just gonna log in with your VUSD.US account. If at any point during this presentation you guys have questions and you wanna go ahead and pop them in the chat, I would be more than happy to answer them, or you can just unmute, we're all adults here. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna do a brief overview of some of the features, okay? We're gonna start on page 1. Now, right now, if you're logged in as a student, right, you can go ahead and you can just draw like crazy. So what you're gonna do is it's already defaulted with the drawing tool, right? So go ahead and scribble and play. If you're on the board, the Whiteboard.Chat, go ahead and scribble and play. And I wanna show you what that looks like from a teacher's perspective. And then I'm gonna go through all the settings and get you guys ready to rock. And then I'm gonna show you some tools and then we'll release you. So notice that I've drawn here and kids are gonna do that, right? They're gonna get crazy. I always recommend that if you're gonna show them a new tool right off the bat, that you should always let them play just a little bit. So click around on all of the different tools, all of the different structures, make sure that they have a chance to really like investigate the platform first before you ask them to do anything academic, because what it will do is it will allow you to kind of get that out of their system so that you can then move on and start actually doing the materials you do. Now, on my board, right, I am the teacher. And so everything that's showing up on my board is going to show up on your board as well. If you're having issues or the internet is not working, you can go ahead and refresh. But I did want to show you that if you click on your avatar, your picture, when I say avatar, I'm talking about the teacher board does show your work. I'll show you right now. So if I click on my avatar, notice down at the bottom, it says follow teacher, okay? If you click that, that takes it from student pace to instructor pace. So your kids have to stay on the board that you're on. Okay, so I'll show you one more time how to do that. You go up and you click the picture, your picture. It's gonna show you all your students. You're gonna scroll all the way down and you're gonna go to follow teacher. And now on your guys' screen, it says follow teacher's page and you guys are stuck with me. If you try to go anywhere, if you try to push the arrows at the bottom, it's not gonna allow you, okay? Now, to go see your student boards, if you go up to the 3 dots in the right side, so go up to where your avatar is. As an adult, you'll see the picture. As a teacher, you can click on these 3 dots and you can go to open class boards, okay? Once you do that, it gives you a list of all the students that are in your class on their boards. And as you click on them, it'll take you to their board and it'll show what they've added. So if you notice here, I'm showing Anna's board. She decided to draw a green squiggle. Ashley decided to draw a happy face with blue. Calvin decided to give us hola, right, with purple. And we can just continue to go through, right? And everything that I have done, your guys's, you can add to it, right? You can see Georgina's playing. All right. Now I could straight up go back to my board, okay? So at the bottom here, now that I'm on Georgina's board, if you look at the top, it'll say Georgina Dean up at the top of my screen. If I wanna go back to my board, I can go ahead and click on the bottom here where it says go to instructor and I'm back to my board, okay? Now let me show you real quick. That was just a quick like, hey, I wanted to show you how it looks. Let's go ahead and start from the beginning and look at the settings first. So the first thing you're gonna do when you log in is you're gonna go up to the cog up at the top, the gear. When you click the gear, it's gonna give you these options. So take a look at my Zoom screen if you're not. The options that exist are here. So what this means on the top is that you can give students, when they start their board, you can give them 3 options. You can give them the option to brush, which is what I gave you. That's the drawing tool. You can give them an option to move and resize. So this would be like if you want to drag and drop, if you want them to drag, you've created a drag and drop activity and you want them to drag and drop something like from like a group of items and you want them to move over to the space. For example, say that you gave a Venn diagram. I'm going to give you an English perspective, but think about how you could use it in math or chemistry or special ed or history. Say you gave them a Venn diagram and on the left you made a bunch of like statements, right? So say we were going to compare Gatsby and Nick from The Great Gatsby, and it was a Venn diagram. And I've had a bunch of characteristics that I've already included, and it's a matter of drag and drop, right? I want them to move the item to the Venn diagram. I would obviously start my board as move and resize. Most of the time you're gonna have them start as brush, okay? Then for safeguard purposes, and I've already included this on that PowerPoint or the slide deck I gave you, you want to make sure that this is checked. Only logged in users can join board. Okay, so that allows kind of some safety and some security resources there. If they're logged in with their Google account, then they can join the board. If they're not, then they won't. If you're finding kids are having issues with that, you can go ahead and uncheck that, but then careful, use at your own risk. You won't be able to see their pictures. So if they draw anything inappropriate, then it's going to be an anonymous user. So keep that in mind. This box here, I always start with it checked. Students can only draw on their individual or group boards, because if you have it unchecked, they can go to anybody's board, your board even, and they can draw all over your board. So if you're trying to demonstrate something to your students and that one kid decides that they're going to go ahead and mark all over your board and mess things up, that can cause some problems. So you want to go ahead and make sure that's checked. If you want your students to only be able to see like simple tools, like the basic tools, draw, move, select, erase, that kind of thing, then you can click student see simple tools. If you want to take it a step further, you can say the very simple tools, which will only give them the option to draw, erase, move, and put text. And I'll show you the tools in just a second. Enable webcam video recording. One of the things I love about Whiteboard Chat is this idea that you can go ahead and give students the opportunity to potentially respond to a question via video or audio, as well as written or drawn. Okay, now I am a big proponent of this year of really offering the opportunity for choice. Some students do better if they can record themselves with their expression rather than writing. And so if you'd want that, like for example, you foreign language or world language teachers, if you'd rather they answer a prompt by videoing themselves and you want to hear them, then you need to make sure that enable webcam video recording is checked so that their webcam can be used. And then enable enter in text box. One feature Whiteboard Chat has come up with is this ability to set like the answer, and then yes, exactly like Screencastify, except it's more of just like a video response instead of a screen share. Enable enter in a text box, you can set an answer and you can set points, okay? So the students, when say you had a math equation, I'm gonna do a basic one because let's be real, I'm not a math person, but 2 times 8 equals, say you set that up on your board, you can go ahead and then enter in the answer of 16 and a lot like 2 points for however many of those questions. And if they get them right, then go ahead, you can auto correct it. It'll correct it, it's on its own. And if they get it right, it'll turn green. If they get it wrong, it'll turn red. And I've also included that here for you guys to see on the slide deck I've given you. So you can take a look at that later on. But that's like more of an advanced feature. So I'm gonna hold that. And if you want that kind of separately, we can talk about that, okay? And that's essentially it. Anything that you change, remember you want to push save down at the bottom. It's not like Google where it auto saves your settings. So make sure you push save down at the bottom. There's a couple other features here. When you click your avatar, your picture up at the top, and we're going to get operating here just in a second. So thank you for being patient with me. When you click your avatar up at the top and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you have a couple options here. You have create group board. So if you wanted to, you could click that and you could actually go through and assign your students just by simply clicking on them, right? I can assign them to their own board. And so say you want to break them out into breakout rooms and you want to monitor the group working on the collaborative board together, you can break them out on each of their own individual like group boards. So like 4 students to a group board, and then that, and that can all be arranged by you. Once again, that is like kind of an advanced feature. And so we can talk about that another time if you guys would like. You also can chat with them in this platform. You also can lock the class. So like if you don't want them to be able to write on it anymore, you can click lock class, and then unfollow teacher gives the toggles between student paste and instructor paste. Okay, so that's like the basic rundown. Here's the reality, guys. Let me be clear on something. Do I think you're going to get this right now? Like this is going to be something that like you fully embrace and understand? Absolutely not. You're going to need to get on there and play with it. And I'd be more than happy to play with it with you as a student. For if you guys want, you just need to let me know, reach out to me, and we can go ahead and do that. We don't even need to be on a Zoom. You can just say, hey, I'm going to try this whiteboard out. Will you jump on real quick? Send me the link, and I would love to kind of do that with you. Okay, so these are the kind of settings up top. The other thing that I want to show you now, if you'll do me a favor and navigate to the left, click on these 3 lines. The 3 lines just extend your toolbox. There's a bunch of different tools here that you can see, and it may seem overwhelming at first, but remember, I've given you guys a breakdown of in this slide deck of like what each one means, so you guys can revisit that later on. Manage boards is going to be your home base as a teacher. So if you have multiple boards and you want to go find them, you would click manage boards. And what it would do is it would go ahead and take you to those boards. So for example, if you're looking at my screen, I can show you, I did a check-in with period 1. I would just click on the eyeball. It would take me to the period 1 check-in. I did an emoji exit or entrance ticket where they had to circle how they were feeling. Okay. So manage board is kind of your home base with all of your boards. So just keep that in mind. Over on the left also, you have a couple options. You have grids. So if you click on grids, there's a bunch of different grids for you math people who do like graphing. The coordinate plane one is pretty cool. You can just pop a coordinate plane on there, and then you can go ahead and include whatever you want them to do. They can use the drawing tool or the line tool to make their parabolas or their whatever else there are lines to plot points, whatever it may be. You can do, for music, if you have friends that are in music and you want kids to create their own music, you can have music set up. You can do college lined paper. So if you want them to be able to write, you can do that and set that up for them. There's a bunch of different types of grids that you can use. It really is up to you if you need it or not. Then it is you have the clear button. So anything that you put on, if you want to clear the page, you can. Download is really cool. Download allows you at any point in time to download all of your students' work. It'll download into a PDF. So if you wanted to have like a PDF file after you've done a lesson and you want a PDF file to go back and grade, rather than looking through every single board, you can download your whole class as a PDF, and then you can just kind of go through and grade that way. Manage book, there's a lot of different options here. This is going to be more so along the lines if you wanted to like send a copy to a PLC partner, right? If you wanted to create something and your whole PLC wanted to use it, you can send a copy. You can publish it to a community if you want. So say you create something you're really proud of, there's like a whiteboard chat community where you can go pull from other people's work or boards that they've created. You could add to that. You have like obviously delete, quick clear. There's bingo. They have like games built in. So if you wanted to play bingo, or if there was another game that you wanted to play. The one that I wanted to show you guys was this one right here. Just kind of draw your attention. Time Machine is like revision history for Google Docs or Google Slides. It allows you to see everything that had been done on somebody's board, and it does it in video format for you. So if you click Time Machine, it'll take you through from the very beginning of the work to the end, and it'll allow you to see kind of the steps that was made. So I had a question in the chat, if we send a message, how does the receiver know it was sent? So if you send a message to me, if chat was enabled, then it would pop up. Did you send a message to me, Mary? Do you know? It usually is supposed to pop up on my screen. You guys can try that as we go. Add media. So I'm going to keep going just for sake, and then I'm going
Okay.
to show you how it looks.
Yeah.
Add media is this is where your kids would, if they wanted to do a webcam recording of the question, they can add a webcam photo or they can add a video or audio. Move and resize will allow you to move things. Select will allow you to kind of just select items. We'll get to tools in a second. Upload file. This is my best friend. Your, as a teacher's best friend. Upload file. For those of you guys that have worksheets that are already pre-made and you want to put like a series of worksheets and see your students like real-time work on them, you can go ahead and upload PDFs or image files straight to the board, and you can use those and they stay as like a image file in the back, and then the students can write or draw over top of them. And I'll show you that in just a second. You can upload from your files or you can upload from Google Draw, okay? Draw is simple. It's the paint tool, right? Like we kind of talked about, and you can change over in the right side corner, the if you look at right next to your name on the bottom right, you can change the color of the paint tool. So it's always going to change. I have it matched to where the palette of the outside border is going to match the drawing tool, but you can uncheck that. I could show you that later. Erase just erases, you just click and drag. Text offers a text box, and lasso allows you to select a lot of items. Okay, last kind of thing, and then I'm going to show you some examples, is this idea of tools. This is where you're going to live kind of most of the time. If you click on tools, these are all of the different types of tools that you can use to set up your board, or that students can use when they're engaging with the board. So they can draw lines, arrows, shapes, select notes. So like in Jamboard, if you really liked the post-it notes, you can go ahead and click notes, and it gives you a ton of different options. Rich text is different than text box in the sense that it allows you formatting options here, right? So you can use bold and italics, it can be headings, block quotes. So if they were gonna write, like, I'm having an issue with finding a really appropriate, like satisfying like blog area for my students because everything seems to be blocked from the district level. And I know I can use a Google Doc, but they could potentially blog on this and then download as a PDF or a JPEG and like add it to a slide deck or whatever it may be. But rich text allows them that option. There's always the undo tool as well, or clear board tool. So other tools, Infinite Cloner just lets to, Amanda, I see your question about Google Drive. I don't know. I'll look that up because this is brand new to me too. And if sometimes there's glitches because they just rolled this out. So I'm going to make a note of that, and then I'll email them. Anything, by the way, that you need, guys, they literally, the makers of this, they've responded to my email in no less than 5 minutes. I needed a table tool. There wasn't a table tool. I said, I need a table tool. They said, don't worry about it. We got it. And they built in a table tool for us. Okay, give me just a second. We'll get there. Add links, really cool, because you can actually add a link that they can click on. Show dice. If you're doing any type of statistics and rolling of dice, you can do that. You can integrate YouTube videos directly into the chat if you want, or into the page if you want them to watch. There's a compass. There's math items. So math items are going to be, all of your specific kind of square roots, exponents, things like that. And I gave you like a cheat sheet that a friend made right here. I'm almost done here. Student signals. If students are struggling, they can click student signal and it'll pop up on their, like, so if you do a thumb signal and you pop it in, right? A student could then click it and tell you like how they're doing. At the bottom here, there's a grid view. So you could see all of this should be gone. You could see all of the different boards, like Georgina put a picture of herself, but you could see which students are, by clicking those tools, you could see how people are doing in like a quick view. And then finally, as far as tools go, I knew this would be a big fan favorite. There's a basic calculator and a graphing calculator that can actually be added to the whiteboard chat. For our math and science people, you can just add it right in there. Tile Factory is going to be your, you can create like tiles, they can do like counting. And then finally your table tool at the bottom, or text box. Okay, So I wanted to show you just real quick, one last thing, and then I'll let you go. And you guys can like reach out if you have questions about other things. But I wanted to show you, and I'll answer questions. Just like on Google Slides, as a teacher, you don't have it as a student participant, but as a teacher on the left, there's this little gallery kind of pop-out view. So say you create multiple pages, you can actually delete from here, you can move, right, like that, and reorder them, and kind of could go from there. So it's just a quick little thing. I wanted to show you, I'm going to move you guys to instructor paste so that you can kind of stay with me. But I wanted to show you, I put together just some like brief, quick activities for some of the different subjects, just to kind of show you what it could look like, okay? So on page 2, this was something that I just kind of put together for chemistry. Obviously, I'm an English teacher, not a chemistry teacher, so don't judge me too hard. But what you could do is you could actually, since they have the drawing tool and the text box tool, you can actually ask them to, balance the chemical equations right then and there. And then you could check, it could be a brief little quick check for them to see if they did it right. And if not, then you can go and ask them to redirect and they can erase and start again. For bio, so this got all out of whack. For bio, this is a video on Punnett squares. I know bio is getting ready to start Punnett squares. So this is a video I just pulled from YouTube. They could watch it, and then you can have them like just use the text box to take notes below. And then if they wanted to scroll down, they could go ahead and use the drawing tool to do this activity regarding Harry Potter and Punnett squares. You can just put like I said, the PDF just goes directly onto it. You can't really zoom out, but you can use the Chrome kind of zoom if the document's too big. Here's another example that I put together. This is like for Spanish. If they wanted to, watch this video, the cool thing about the video is you can, in addition to putting the YouTube in, you could put the seconds that you want them to watch. So it doesn't need to be the full video if you just want them to watch a portion of it. And then you can ask them, these are what some of these people's happiest moments of their lives are. What is yours? And they can just use a text box or drawing or even an audio recorder to, share in Spanish. This is like an example from a friend of mine that I grabbed about math, right? So label everything you can from the graph, calculate the slope. So she took a screenshot from one of her programs. I don't know if it's Desmos or GeoGebra. And then she just added the image and the kids can write on top of the image. And then finally, this is what I pulled. Oh, I have 2 more. This is from English, something for Gatsby that obviously I pulled where they can draw, or they can go ahead and click here, read a text, any type of text you want them to read, and then they can fill out like a graphic organizer that you've thrown into the screen. And then this is a history one. So how does each of the following represent the Gilded Age? Now, my hope is that, you take a look at these and you think, okay, yeah, that's for history, but how can I adapt that to my subject as well? So that's kind of the gist of it. I'm not going to go into like really intense details, but if there's any part that you're like, hey, I really am curious about this and I didn't really feel like I had enough time, just let me know and I'll go ahead and send you either a video explanation or we can hop on a Zoom. If you're like also, hey, I really just want to create, I want to create like a board, but I don't exactly know how, let me know. Let's hop on a Zoom and we can co-create that together. This doesn't have to be something you do in isolation. I'm available 4th and 6th period. Mr. Feehan's on the board as well, or in the room. He's also a tech coach available for that. And I know that this was a flyby, right? But I don't want to take so much of your time on a Wednesday, and we can continue to kind of build as we go. Just real quick, let me look at the questions. So if we send a message, how does the receiver know it was sent? So you have to enable the chat. You do that by clicking on the avatar, your picture, and then scrolling down, and you can enable the ability to chat. So I put delete chat, but really ultimately it'll say create chat. When you do that, give me one sec, create chat. And now the ability to chat with people is open. So I can go to my class boards, or you guys can send me a chat. The other thing, guys, that I didn't share that's really cool, sorry, is this picture of the hand up at the top right. If a student has a question or they need help, like if somebody will click that hand for me, you could see right here, Mr. James clicked the hand and it shows you on your board who needs help at that point. Look at all these people. So we have, I'm okay, I have a question, right? It pops up and then you can just click on their names and it takes you directly to their board to help them in those moments. And so then you can chat with them at that point, or you could, you know, go to the breakout room, whatever it may be, and help them along. Let's see, what else? Oh, this palette, I'm gonna let you guys play with this. I also included it on the slide deck. But like, for example, you math people, if you're interested in using any of these icons, they're there, including like your, let's see, manipulatives will give you like a number line that you guys could use. There is a chemistry one. It's not very good. I don't love it, but it has things like that if you could figure out what to do with those kinds of things. So at the end of the day, guys, I just encourage you to play. And if you have questions, obviously, you know, reach out. That's what I'm here for. Let's see, other questions. Can you change the color of my text without changing the border color? Yes, you can. That is a setting that I can turn off as a teacher. So in the settings page, I'll show you. If you go up to the gear cog on the right, so if you want kids to be able to draw freely with various colors, you can uncheck or untoggle this box where it says pen color and board color match, and then save, and it'll allow people to have as many you know, colors as they want, and they can use the palette there. Let's see, other questions. I was thinking the message, okay, can students see each other's work? They cannot. They cannot see each other's work unless you put them in a group board. If you put them in a group board, then obviously they can see the other people that have been assigned to that group board. But as far as individual board goes, no. And you can actually showcase a student board. So if I wanted to screen share and I wanted to like, so if you take a look here, I clicked on my picture and I wanted to showcase Kelly's board. I said, oh my gosh, you guys should see what Kelly is doing. It is exceptional. I can click it and it'll show, I believe it'll show everybody Kelly's board on the screen, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to, am I right on that? Are you guys seeing Kelly? Can you draw? Is that not happening?
Yes, you're right. On ours, it says showcasing student board, and we see.
Cool. So you see Kelly's board. So if you wanted to showcase a board and then to undo that, you just click on the avatar, the picture at the top, and put remove showcase, right? When I try to upload, okay, so we're gonna figure out the Google Drive thing. If we use this to assign homework, how would you suggest we have students submit their pages? Would downloading the work onto a PDF be the best option, or is there another option? So this, it's open. It's an open board. So if you give them the link, kind of like a student paced Pear Deck, if you leave it student paced and not follow teacher, then it will, their work will live on the board. So it's a matter of you just going to Whiteboard.Chat, specifically the manage boards spot, and then you'll see all of the board, and then you can cycle through the kids, or they can download and send to you if you want it to be submitted to Schoology. But yeah, it's going to be there and living in real time. Let's see, other questions we had. All right, if they complete a graphic organizer, for example, could they go back and see them outside of class? They could always go back to this whiteboard as long as you don't like delete the board, right? It'll live there. There's one moment, I need to look on like the details specifically. I can't recall off the top of my head, but the boards do recycle. And so they expire, as you can see on the managed board. It looks like there's 9 days you get, okay? So what you have to do to just fix that is you go over to this like refresh icon, and if you refresh it, it will continue to refresh for however long you want, so the kids can go back and look at their board. So like if, for example, you're doing like a synthesis project where they're like doing a bunch of different things, and then eventually you'll do a summative piece, you know, they can go and revisit the board. I think you said the teacher can see all student work to be able to grade it. Can the teacher share that finished document with their class? Are you talking like the finished document of like students finish documents?
Like on Jamboard, how everybody does all the sticky notes, and then everybody can see each other's stuff. So it kind of grows the ideas. Like, can you do something with the teacher thing where you can see everybody's to share it with the class so they can like get ideas from that later? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the best way I think to do that would be to create a group board where everybody is contributing to the one board. And the way that you do that, one more time, is if you're on your board, I'm going to share my screen in just a second. I want to bring the board up. If you're on the board, if you guys have to go, because I did say 11:40 we'd be done, you guys can go ahead and take off. If not, you could stick around and ask questions. So if you're on the group board, Melissa, and you go up to your avatar or your picture, you can go to create group board. And because all of these individuals are like logged in, right? You can put them into separate boards, or you can just click choices, select all, and pop them in, and then name it, and then put create group. And so now you guys are all in a group board and can all collaboratively work on that board collectively, right? And if you want to delete the group board, you can do that. You can also lock them. Yep. Are there any other questions I can answer? Okay, before we take off, for those of you guys, or you can take off, it's up to you, but I'd love for you real quick, just to kind of solidify the information in your brain, if you could pop into the chat just one way you think that you could see this working in your classroom, like how you would use it. Let's get a collaborative, like maybe a bank of ideas, and then I can send that out to everybody that was participating as well. So how do you think you could use this?